The long-forgotten Twisted Blades out of meta build for a rogue. First, let's see what are the pros and cons of the build. This build is perfectly capable of killing all pinnacle bosses in the game on Torment 12. This build is capable of reaching pit tier 120, believe it or not, which means it's slightly off meta. It is not as sluggish as Rain of Arrows in terms of speed, or, God forbid, as penetrating shots that are meta. There is no stop and pop. With Twisting Blades you move around the screen and everything dies around you. So the build is extremely good if you wanna fast farm, but it's not faster than Dance of Knives. It's slightly slower, but if you wanna switch a bit, this is the way to go. And you never know, it might become meta in the next season, and pretty much everything I say for this build will apply for season 15. So let's see what do we do with Twisting Blades Rogue. For the specialization, we go with the Inner Sight. You're not wrong if you go with Preparation, but my personal favorite is Inner Sight because of non-stop energy, okay? For the Mercs, Brain Dead option, Mocking Lure with Rahir, and Variana that gives us attack speed. Now let's see the items. We want Imbue Potency for a temper on every single ring, amulet, gloves, and weapon in the game. This is how it's supposed to look like, but we never max out Imbue Potency with Masterwork. As far as the main weapon goes, the aspect that we want is increased damage to vulnerable enemies. For the stats, it's pretty much classic: vulnerable damage, damage over time is the main stat. If you cannot get it, then it's shadow damage multiplier, poison damage multiplier, or even cold damage multiplier along with dex and life. Good luck with a transmog as well. The essential and the absolute must to play this build. We got basically four essential items, but the most important would be the Maestro. Okay, we want Maestro with Twisting Blades maxed out and damage over time, including life, dex if you can go with it, and so on. Similar applies like for the main weapon, but Maestro is a must. The next most important would be the Shrouded Gift. We need it for the damage reduction. Now, whether your Shrouded Gift is gonna be a classic unique or a mythic, that really doesn't matter, we need it. For the next essential item, of course, it's Call of the Nameless, which will enhance our damage drastically. The stats that we want is life, dex, imbuement skills, and good luck with the transmog as well. And the final essential item would be Etna's Last Dagger. Damage over time everywhere, okay? And if you can roll with dex, life, increase poison or something like that, good. If not, make sure that you have at least damage over time multiplier. Now, as far as the armor goes, the aspect that we want on armor would be damage reduction flat and 50% less damage from poisoned enemies, because you're gonna poison enemies with Twisting Blades. And for the stats, classic resist all, armor, life, dex. For the gloves, we want all damage and dex, so damage over time multiplier, vulnerable damage multiplier, poison damage multiplier, all damage multiplier, dexterity, and the aspect would be dealing non-physical damage will increase attack speed and lucky hit chance up by 60%. For the boots, we want move speed for the temper, and we want resists life and dex. And for the aspect, we're gonna go with stealth. Going into stealth, you receive healing and you fortify. Now, as far as amulet goes, we want all skills for sure, but if you don't have imbue skills on the same amulet, also very good to have is all damage multiplier, vulnerable damage multiplier, damage over time multiplier. With the imprints, we're gonna go with enemies receive increased damage over time by percentage up to 10 seconds, and we're gonna go for the second aspect with unstoppable 75% increased damage. For the rings, same apply as for the amulet: damage, and dex. So damage over time everywhere, vulnerable damage everywhere, poison everywhere. And for the second ring, same applies like for the first one. The only thing that changes would be the imprint. One is with a shadow clones, increased non-physical damage, and the other one would be increased damage while being fortified. That would be the itemization. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna check the skill tree. Of course, we're taking Twisting Blades, max it out, we're gonna take damage increase and execute upgrade, and we're gonna take crowd controlled and weakened. And the thing that we wanna take here is the Blade Dancer for all content in the game. Except when you wanna push the tower. Okay, except for the leaderboards. Now, when you wanna push the tower, you're gonna switch to Sleight of Hand, because this is better for single target damage, because going into the tower there is lower monster density and you gotta kill rares and magics, okay? So they drop those orbs and you push the tower faster. This is the way with Sleight of Hand. In all other content, Helltide, Escalations, the Pit, it doesn't matter, even for the pinnacle bosses, you're gonna go with a Blade Dancer. Although if you really wanna farm, for example, Mephisto, Sleight of Hand is better. You're gonna deal more damage to Mephisto, yeah. Now when we're done with Twisting Blades, we're gonna go down and we're gonna take Dash with Weaken and charges and cooldown reduction upgrade into the primer. On the left side with the subterfuge skills, we're maxing out the Dark Shroud, we're taking move speed, we're gonna take Consume Chance, and we're gonna take Shadow Dancer. For the concealment part, we're taking just this without these upgrades here, and we're gonna take Recuperate. Down here, where the imbuements are, we're taking all. So we're gonna take Poison Imbuement into Toxic Touch. We're gonna take Shadow Imbuement into Endemic. And we're gonna take Cold Imbuement into Buffered Battery. We don't take a single upgrade for any of them because Talismans will provide us with all upgrades. And for the final part, we're taking the Shadow Clone into Weaken and Vulnerable, into Cooldown, and into Relentless. Now, let's see the Talismans and how they merge with the build. What we need on the Talismans here. We need Spellbound and we need Sightless. Now, you can go with 4 Sightless if you have a Mythic and 2 Spellbounds, or 4 Spellbounds and 2 Sightless. My personal favorite is a setup like this. Without a Mythic, we're gonna go with 5 Spellbounds and any unique that's gonna raise your damage. Okay, unique charm that's gonna raise your damage until you get a Mythic. Once you get a Mythic, this is what we want. We want Imbue skills everywhere and resists, flat resists. If you roll Core or if you roll Cutthroat, you switch. So we have 3 options, which is very cool about this build because they equally scale. The slight differences in scaling between Cutthroat, Core, and Imbue. The priority order should be Cutthroat, Imbuement, and then Core for the rolls on Talismans. Alright? And of course, every single one of them, you should try to have any resist. Now, what do we do with runes? I'm playing here with Puck and Vex, plus 2 all skills, and I'm playing here with Earthen Bulwark. You can also play with Barbarian's Warcry. Just let me see what it is. So, we can also play with Om, Barbarian's Warcry, or we can play with Mat, so we get a Dark Shroud. But if you opt in to play with Mat, then we gotta go back to the skill tree, and we did not equip Dark Shroud, but we're gonna ramp up points into Shadow Step, so we're gonna have 3 mobility skills on a skill bar. So if you opt in for Mat, for the Dark Shroud on runes, then you must take Shadow Step. It's good, you're gonna have better cooldown reduction, better mobility on a map. This is your choice how you wanna do it. And now the famous Paragon. So what we want on Paragon is supposed to look like this, and we're gonna ramp up efficiency. On a second board, we're gonna pick Eldritch Bounty, and we're gonna take versatility. On a third board, we're picking Exploit Weakness, and we're gonna take Tracker. Pause when you need to, so you can actually see everything. On a fourth board, we're gonna take Dance Macabre, and we're gonna go with Bane. And for the final board, we're taking Chip Shot, and we're gonna use any. When you should consider playing Twisting Blades? If you find a good Maestro, if you find a good Cowl, or if you're extremely bored. The build, as I said, completely valid for pit tier 120, and you're gonna clear everything in Torment 12. It's beginning to scale very hard. Once you have even unique Maestro, you're gonna feel the drastic difference. Again, it's not as fast as Dance of Knives, which I consider the fastest freaking build on a rogue for speed farming, and it's not as OP as Rain of Arrows, Arrow Storm, or Penetrating Shot, God forbid, but it's somewhere in between the speed of Dance of Knives and the power of all of the meta builds. And again, I gotta stress it out, you never know, it might become a meta in the next season, so it's better to do this build right now, give it a shot. I kinda like it, because it clears everything around you as you walk. It's not static, you don't need to stop and pop like for many other marksman builds. This is like you move on and everything falls around you, which is why I actually like the build. And that's why you have the build on the channel now. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.